So as we think about lawn care in the summertime in most of our markets, you know, we have problems in the summertime, especially in the transition zone, into the northern climates, Midwest, even the Southeast. We've got issues around burn potential and using fertilizers because we don't know if it's going to be too hot, if it's going to be too dry, if it's going to be potentially too wet. And so there can be a lot of variability in weather in the summertime, and usually it's extreme. And so it's hard to know exactly the right formulation of fertilizer to put down every summer, because probably one summer to the next, it wouldn't always be the same answer to that question. And if you're using any kind of a fertilizer in the summertime, you have to really be thinking about burn potential of that fertilizer. A lot of our fertilizers have a high salt content, and you know, if you think of an analogy, if you know, if you're running a race, a marathon, in the middle of a hot summer, the last thing you want is a lot of salt, right? And so your turf is going to be the same, your plants are going to be the same. They're not going to want a lot of salt when it's hot and dry. So we have to be careful about high salt-based fertilizers, which are most of our fertilizers have a pretty good salt content to them. So we have to use them judiciously. Doesn't mean they can't have good effects. We just got to make sure we know what we're putting down, why we're putting it down, and what the potential negatives can be.
And when you say our salt, are you referring to the industry as a standard? Yeah,
I'm talking about any fertilizer.
Yeah.
Any
it's
synthetic.
Not organic necessarily.
Yeah, and typically your synthetic fertilizers are going to have a higher salt content than your organic fertilizers. Holganix Bio 800 product, the refrigerated Holganix has no salt content and has no burn potential at all. What I'm talking about is fertilizer. So anything with nitrogen, as well as potassium and phosphorus, but key being, you know, most of our fertilizers have a certain amount of nitrogen in them, and that nitrogen will have a tendency to burn. And you know, there's different forms of nitrogen. Obviously, you have organic nitrogen. The organic nitrogen, if you're going to get it, like in Holganix, we have the Healthy Grow line of fertilizers. That's an organic fertilizer line. Some of it has some synthetics in it, but it all starts off with an organic poultry litter, aerobically composted base to them. They have a very low burn potential and a relatively low salt content for the type of nutrients that they are. So they're going to be a slow release, gradual feeding nutrient. If you look at our liquid fertilizers, you know, obviously we have a lot of people that could just use a simple 4600 urea, sweat it down into a liquid tank and go out and spray it on the lawns. And that can work fine and can be a good companion with the Bio 800 refrigerated Holganix products. But the challenge with using 4600 urea by itself is, unless you're using it very carefully, it can easily burn when it gets, you know, when temperatures get over 85 degrees. If we get any kind of heat or drought stress, ureas can be challenging to use. They also have a tendency to volatilize and turn into ammonia in our tanks if you leave them in the tanks too long during hot weather. So anytime you smell ammonia that's higher than normal, if it's burning your eyes as you're spraying it, that means your ammonia is too strong, and you got to be careful. And we're going to go into more detail on all these things. We get stress from weather. So in the summertime, we can see disease problems occur because this is when the lawns are under a particular amount of stress. This is when the disease, the pathogens can really cause a lot more harm than they can typically when the plants are actively growing, like they would be in the spring or the fall. Temperatures are good, turf's growing well, and so we can get typically more disease in the summertime. And the third thing is how do we make sure that, you know, as a lawn care company, we want to make sure that our guys are busy. We want to make sure that we do applications through the summertime because we want to, frankly, generate an invoice to generate revenue as a lawn care operator. We don't want to just stop in the middle of summertime. Sometimes, you know, we have to think about what are we doing to the lawn, and is our main goal to generate an invoice and keep our guys busy? And that's okay if that's part of your goal. Or is the main goal to add value for our customers with products and services that are actually going to help the lawn and help the customer in the middle of the summertime? And we have to balance those two things out, because not everything we apply in the middle of the summertime maybe is exactly what the lawn needs, even though we need to keep our guys busy. And so we have to kind of balance those things, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So let's move on to the next slide.
This is another question. So we just went over some of the problems we've identified in the summer. What are some of the problems you're seeing, or which ones are more important to you guys we have burn potential, stress from weather, that could be disease, it could be just the lack of water and the high temperatures that you say, adding value on summer apps. There's something else entirely. This is going to be an interesting result here. I'm seeing it tally up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's share the results.
Interesting. We had 0%.
They did have to pick their number one problem.
The number one. Okay. The stress from weather is 67%. 33% was adding value on summer applications, and nobody picked burn potential as their number one. So that's good news, frankly. That means that most of you all don't have significant burn issues, and you figured out the right type of fertilizer to use to make sure that you don't have those issues. So that's good. And so let's move on then, and we can spend the right amount of time on the right topics here. So let's talk about Holganix products. So all Holganix products, just to review kind of the Holganix brand positioning and who we are as a company. Everything that Holganix produces has to do with microbiology in the soil. So some of our products actually have living, active microbiology. That would be a probiotic. Some of our products don't have active living biology, but they have food sources for biology, and that would be a prebiotic. Some of our products have nutrients, so nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. Some of our products don't have any nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus at all, and are specifically a soil amendment. So as we look at Bio 800, the Bio 800 is anything that's in a refrigerator is part of the Bio 800 Plus family of products. Bio 800 products by themselves do not have any nutrient equivalent. There's no fertilizer in them. There's no nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. However, they have a tremendous amount of active living biology. They have food sources for biology. They have biostimulants, humic, aminofulvic acid, kelp, lots of things that are really beneficial to soil and lawns in the summertime. So the Bio 800 product is the most biodiverse product in our mix. It's typically paired with some type of fertilizer during the year because it doesn't have fertilizer equivalent by itself. When you look at the Blue Sky 2100, that is not an active living biological product. There's no living biology in Blue Sky, but it's a great slow release nitrogen source. It's a liquid. It's designed to be paired with the Bio 800, although it can be used by itself or be used in conjunction with PV1, which we're going to talk about in a second. The Blue Sky 2100 has a methylated urea base to it. Methylated urea is a very low salt content, very low burn potential, long feeding nitrogen, very low chance of having it ammoniate in your tank, and a very low chance of having it burn your soils or your lawns. And it works great as a pair with any of our biological products, the Bio 800 or the PB1, or again, you can use it by itself. Then you go to the PB1. PB1 is a non-refrigerated product. It's a liquid product. We have two forms of it. We have an LTO for lawn, turf, and ornamentals, and we have the golf-focused product. They have a little bit of analysis to them. The LTO has a 401, and the golf has a 200. That being said, the amount of nutrients that they have in it per 1,000 square feet is pretty low. There's very low burn potential with PB1, low salt content. It's got great amino acids, polyamino acids in it. It's got an armament technology that helps improve photosynthesis, helps reduce stress from heat, disease, that type of things, improve the plant's immunity. And it's you can use it in conjunction with Blue Sky or in conjunction with Bio 800, or you can use it by itself. Again, low burn potential, great product to use in the middle of summer. And then the Healthy Grow Infused with Holganix is the granular line of fertilizers we have that have nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus in them. A lot of it is derived from organic poultry litter source, very low burn potential, very long feeding nutrients, and they have infused with probiotics with active biology. It's not actually active; it's dormant biology that's infused into the fertilizer and becomes active when it gets in the soil and becomes moist. And so that's kind of the general line of products that you probably want to look at that's within our portfolio that are going to help you throughout the summertime. So when you look at the Bio 800, we kind of went through this. That's got over 800 species of bacteria and fungi. It's that entire diverse microbiome that really helps have the soil ready to deal with a lot of the stresses that it's going to have. The Bio 800 is going to help the soil retain water more efficiently. It's going to help improve rooting. It's going to dramatically improve your resistance to disease. And that's simply because we're going to put so much beneficial biology into the soil that the pathogens don't, if the good guys, the good biology outnumbers the bad biology, which are the pathogens that cause disease, then the bad biology can't really thrive. And so, you can look at the Bio 800 as somewhat of a preventative application to help reduce your outbreaks of disease and the severity of disease and fungus pressures you might see during the summertime. It's also going to help improve recovery from heat stress, drought stress, anything high traffic. All of those things are going to be benefited by using the Bio 800 family of products, both on the lawn as well as the tree shrubs and the flowers. All of those are going to be places to use the Bio 800.
Which products fall into this category? Because I bet a lot of these guys that say they're using Holganix, they're probably using one of the Bio 800 products, and they may not know or are as familiar with us with the Bio 800 term.
So the Bio 800 is anything that's in a refrigerator is part of the Bio 800 family of products. So if you're using a Holganix lawn product that comes out of a refrigerator, that's our lawn formula designed for lawn care, and it's part of the Bio 800. It has over 800 species of bacteria and fungi in it. We have a tree and shrub formula. So if it comes out of a refrigerator and it's the Holganix tree and shrub formula, that's part of the Bio 800 product family of products as well. They all have over 800 species. They have different ratios of bacteria and fungi, but they all have over 800. So as an example, the tree formula is going to be more fungally dominant. The lawn formula is going to be more bacterial dominant. But at the end of the day, they're both going to have over 800 species, and they're both going to be great to use in your trees or your lawn in the summertime as well as the spring and the fall. No burn potential really with any of these Bio 800 family of products when you use them by themselves. And then you have the flower product, which is called Bloom, and that would be another great product for you to use in the middle of summer, reduce disease, improve water retention, give your flowers a better color to them. And then we have the Golf product, which is, again, if it comes out of a refrigerator and it says Holganix Golf on it, it's a Bio 800 product designed for golf course use, specifically the golf use has a tendency to have a higher disease outbreak, so we have that product formulated for more disease resistance. So how do the Bio 800 family of products work? Again, it's all about that biological diversity. If we can get, it's an entire microbiome, an entire microbiological ecosystem in a jug. And when we get a beneficial microbiome working in synergy in high concentration in the soil, a lot of good things happen. The microbes help to break down food sources, make them available to the plant. We have mycorrhizae in there that's tremendous at building roots. We even have certain bacteria in there that help to break down thatch, release phosphorus. All of these things are going to be beneficial in plant health. The microbes help to make that circle of life work and release the nutrients that we give the plants in the form of fertilizer. A lot of those nutrients don't actually get used by the plants. They get tied up in the soil. They wash away into our water. They volatilize into our air. We get the microbes in there. They help convert and release the nutrients, make them available to the plant, so you don't need as much nutrients. And microbes help improve the stress from weather, disease, traffic, makes the plant much more resilient, and overall just creates a happy, balanced ecosystem.
Sorry.
So if you look at this Ed Smith Stadium down in Florida, this is the Orioles practice field. They won the STMA Field of the Year, Sports Turf Management Association, and they did so by reducing their fertilizer inputs by 40% and their irrigation by 50%. And they credit using Holganix probiotics, the Bio 800 family, specifically very frequently in order to build their soil's ability to use the fertilizer more efficiently and use water more efficiently. So we help the soil retain water better with natural wetting agents, building organic matter in the soil. But also we build deeper, thicker, more web-like root system. And the more roots we have, the more efficient access that our plants are going to have to water. So that's going to be beneficial as well. So all those things are examples of how customers can use the Bio 800 family to help produce those inputs. So now switch gears for a second. We went from Bio 800. Now we're going to move to, which has has a 0-0-0 analysis. Does not have any nitrogen, no potassium, but phosphorus. It's all about the probiotics and the biology and the biodiversity. We're going to move to Blue Sky. Blue Sky 2100. This is a liquid material that is a slow release nitrogen product. 21 is obviously the number that refers to the amount of nitrogen. It's 21% nitrogen by weight, and it's methylated urea based. The methylated urea is a very long chain, slow release nitrogen source, and so it's going to be great to use in the summertime. Low burn potential. It does cost more than a traditional, 4600's urea that doesn't have any slow release, but you don't typically need to use as much of it, and because you get that long feed and a low burn potential, it's really easy to use, get good consistent results. It's actually a prebiotic, so it doesn't have biology in it, but it does have food sources that support the biology in the soil. So that's why we call it a prebiotic fertilizer. So it's designed to work with the biological products, although it can be used by itself. So how does Blue Sky work? Well, we've got nutrients in there. Some of the nutrients are actually available quickly for the plant, so we do get a quick pop of color, but not too much of it to where it's going to create a burn. And then it has actually 4 chains of release. So you got a short chain, a medium chain, a long chain, and a super long chain. So what you want to think about there is the different releases of nutrients that are available to the plant over a very long period of time. We also have nutrient enhancers, so things like humic, aminofulvic, kelp, that will help improve the plant's ability to use the nitrogen that we apply. So we don't need to use a lot of nitrogen because we have all these nutrient enhancers that help improve the uptake of the nutrients. And then it has food sources for the biology. So not only do we want to feed the plant and make the plant healthy, we want to feed the biology in the soil. And by feeding the biology does better and thrives, and then we get all the great biological benefits that we already talked about. So when you use it in conjunction with Bio 800, you're actually feeding the biology in the Bio 800, making it that much more effective. If you use it without Bio 800, you're still going to feed biology in the soil, because the soil does have biology in it. If we feed that biology, it will grow and become more abundant. So either way, it's going to be a good food source for biology, in addition to being a great low burn food source for the plant.
So this is a video from a company here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, right by our headquarters, Tomlinson, Bomberger. And they use the Holganix Bio 800 with the Holganix Blue Sky. So let's see what they have to say about the combination.
Hi, Rob McCoy from Holganix, here with Brian from Tomlinson Bomberger. Thank you for having us out here today. And just wanted to ask a couple questions. Brian, how long have you been using Holganix?
This is our second full season.
Okay. What have you seen as far as differences in using the product as compared to what you did before?
We've seen an increased level of stress resistance in our lawns. A lot of nutrient uptake without using the amount of pesticides that we previously had in some of our programs.
Okay. So you've recently incorporated Blue Sky into your program. How long ago did you incorporate that into your program?
We started that in late spring this year.
Okay. And what rate are you putting that down at?
We're putting that down about a quarter pound, and it complements our other inputs as well, with the Holganix and the light rate of pesticide.
Okay, great. And what results have you seen with incorporating Holganix and Blue Sky together?
We've seen a great color response, high satisfaction from our clients, and we see that as a product moving forward that's going to work well for us.
Fantastic. Well, Brian, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate all your help. That's it. Rob with Holganix.
I go from here to there. I wonder if they could hear that very well.
Yeah, so I guess to summarize, hopefully you could hear that pretty well. They were using Holganix Lawn for a couple of years. They started using Holganix Lawn with the Blue Sky last late spring. So about this time last year. And this video was taken, I think it was in August, so it was towards the end of the summer season. And they were saying that one of the greatest responses, or the reasons why they paired the two, the lawn and the Blue Sky, is it goes back to building that resilient plant, and the fact that the fact that it was a methylated slow release urea product was nice, but it had these food sources and the nutrient enhancers that were going to be complementing the Bio 800 lawn product.
And it's important to note that that's a mid-Atlantic cool season turf company. They do get significant drought stress and heat stress in the middle of summer on rye, blue, fescue oriented turf. And if if you noticed, he said they were using the Blue Sky at around 1/4 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. If they were using a traditional synthetic fertilizer, not Blue Sky, they might be looking to use a 1/2 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet at that time of the year. And so, using a pretty low amount, they still got a great result. And again, that goes down to nutrient enhancers and the biology, making all that work better.
Yeah, definitely. And let's actually take a step backward because I want to show, this is a property that they had this picture. They put it up. We didn't take it.
This is actually their headquarters.
Yep.
They used it on their headquarters.
Yeah, both products together. And I think they were using the bloom on the flowers there as well. Yeah, so let's move on to the next product.
Yeah, so let's take a look at PB1. PB1 is a newer product for us. PB1 is a non-refrigerated probiotic. So again, probiotic means it actually has living biology in it. It is a more targeted biological product than a Bio 800. So the Bio 800 has over 800 species. It has the entire microbiome. It needs to be refrigerated because in order to create that biodiversity in a stable form, refrigeration has been our preservative. PB1 is a more targeted biological. So there's 7 species of targeted beneficial bacteria, and in the PB1 Golf, we also have mycorrhizae in there. The PB1 LTO doesn't have the mycorrhizae, but they both have that targeted biological. While it doesn't have the biodiversity, it does have a lot of biology. It just doesn't have as many forms of biology. And a lot of the biology that you have in PB1 is going to be around nitrogen fixing. So it's going to give us a good color response. There's a lot of nitrogen available to the plant that's in the atmosphere, but it's not actually available to the plant without the right microbes. PB1's got those nitrogen fixers that can help harness the biology out of the soil and out of the air, make it available to the plant, and give us a color response without risking burn. And it makes our fertilizer work much more efficiently. But even more important than the probiotic in PB1, I think, is the polyamino acids and the armament technology. So what these things are going to do for you is also, by the way, kelp extracts that are going to help improve heat and drought stress and that are in PB1. But the armament and the polyamino acids are going to do a couple things for us. One is they're going to help chelate a lot of the nutrients that are in the soil that we're applying, and they're going to make them much more available to the plant. So we don't need as much nutrients that we apply. It makes everything work much more efficiently. But also the armament's going to help dramatically improve photosynthesis in the plant, which is going to give us better color. It's going to give us better health. It's going to give us better vigor of the plant. It's going to give us better water efficiency. It's going to give us less disease outbreaks. And so PB1 is going to do all of those things for us, help build the immunity and the health of the plant. And very low burn potential. It's a great application to use in the summertime. If you want to do a liquid application in the summertime and you don't want to think about stressing the lawn out with too much nitrogen, PB1 can give you a very nice color response by itself. It does have a little bit of a nutrient equivalent to it. It has a 401 or a 200, depending on which form you use. But it's a very small amount of nitrogen, and it is an organic source. So no real burn potential there, but you will get a good color response. You'll get a color response without stressing out the plant. And at the same time, you're going to get some plant health and immunity from disease and fungus type things. So when you think about applying applications that have value to the customers in the middle of summertime, PB1 is going to be one of those applications that, maybe you're thinking about putting down a granular fertilizer and just putting it down because you got to put something down and leave an invoice for the customer. I get it. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad move. You got to do something for your customers, and some of them are irrigated. They might need that fertilizer. The ones that aren't irrigated probably don't need the fertilizer. But if you look at replacing that application with a PB1 application, we can actually come in at a pretty low cost per 1,000, probably compared to your granular fertilizer. It's very affordable and still get a color response, but do more for the plant, help the plant be more resistant to disease and to heat and to drought. And so it's really a valuable application to apply in the middle of the summertime. This is a Woodhaven Country Club, and they've seen increased playability and less disease by using PB1 in the summertime. And so it's a great application to use. In the summertime, you can use it by itself, or you can use it in combination with Bio 800 and Blue Sky. And we use the 3 of them together. They all lean on each other to gain efficiency, so you can use relatively low amounts of all 3 of them. So lots of ways to use PB1, but definitely something you want to consider for a summertime application. So how does the PB1 work? I kind of went through this briefly, but we'll go a little more in depth. So you think about the bacteria that we have in the PB1. It's going to help dramatically improve nutrient and water uptake. We also have a food source in the PB1 that's going to support the biology. So just like all of our technologies, we're going to be supporting biology in the soil. PB1 actually brings biology to the soil and supports biology in the soil. The armament technology is really tremendous at enhancing the uptake, but also that plant health, increased photosynthesis, and increased resilience, which are all really important things in the middle of summertime. And then the polyamino acids support resilience in environmental stresses as well. The kelp extracts are also a benefit, and we get good color responses without pushing the turf unnaturally at the middle of summertime when sometimes the turf can't handle it. By the way, the PB1 can be used on lawn as well as tree, shrub, and flowers, and can be used in cool season, warm season, golf environments, as well as lawn care. So let's take a look at everything we've talked about so far. Has been we've talked about liquid applications. The Bio 800, the PB1, the Blue Sky are all liquid products, which are great to apply in the summertime. A lot of times people think, oh, I can't apply liquid in the summertime because it burns. Well, that's true if you're thinking about urea. High amounts of urea can burn in the summertime. You can use low amounts of urea and use them carefully and not burn in the summertime. Or you can use any of these products we've been talking about. All have very low burn potential and can be applied in a liquid form in the summertime. But if you want to use a granular, we've got our line of granular products, which are Healthy Grow infused with Holganix. They all start off with an aerobically composted poultry litter that's organic, and then we inject our biology onto that poultry litter, and then in some cases we do blend in some synthetic fertilizers as well. But at the end of the day, you end up with probiotic fertilizers that have biology in them, as well as high quality sustainable nutrient. So we should move on to our next slide here, Kate. So on the Healthy Grow line, just to kind of finish that up, I thought there was another slide on that. You've got several analysis there that you can use in the summertime. Typically, the 243 is a really good summertime application, as is the 795. We also have a 523 and a 1032. Both can be used in the summertime, but the more common ones are the 243 and the 795. And we have greens grade in the 243 and the 523. So for those of you if there's any golf guys on there that want to use it in a greens environment, those we get a very small SGN for those, as well as they all come in standard for lawn care as well. So to go back to our kind of liquid concept, if you look at the three products that we talked about, the Bio 800, the refrigerated product line, you've got the Blue Sky 2100, and you've got the PB1. In this case, we show a jug of the 200, which is the golf formulation, but we also have the lawn formulations, which is a 401. And but the concepts are all the same, whether you use the formulation for lawn or for the formulation for golf. All of these products can be used independently by themselves and applied liquidly on the lawn for a healthy application for the summertime. In the case of the active biology of the Bio 800, as well as the armament and the biology in the PB1, you're gonna give it enhanced disease resistance and stress recovery and stress tolerance. In the case of Blue Sky, you're getting a very good nutrient source that's going to be low burn and feed very gradually over the summertime. When you look at so you can apply any of them by themselves, but when you look at applying them all together in a single application, you get a lot of synergy. We found that in some studies we did, when we showed that reduced rate of Bio 800 plus reduced rate of PB1, when you use those two products together, we get actually a better result, especially in the summertime, than when we use either one of those products by themselves. And so you can actually, if you're used to using a normal rate of Bio 800, might be 7 ounces of Bio 800 per 1,000 square feet. A normal rate of PB1 might be 3 ounces, 2 to 3 ounces per 1,000 square feet. If you look at using the Bio 800 in the 3 ounce range with the PB1 in the 1 to 2 ounce range per 1,000 square feet, those two products together will actually give you an enhanced result, because we're hitting we've got several modes of action that are helping the plant and helping improve plant health and giving us more tools for recovery and resistance to disease and recovery from stress. So using those two together at reduced rates might be a really good idea. The PB1 is going to give us a good color response without pushing growth. The Bio 800 is going to give us a lot of biodiversity. It's going to help a broad sense of disease and fungus organisms, help improve the water retention. And then if you want to do the ultimate, would be to add a small amount of blue sky. You don't need much. Depending on the turf type, depending on the soil type, there's a lot of variables to go into it. But you could use as little as a 1/16 of a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet with the 2100, as much as maybe a 1/4 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. And in conjunction with the Bio 800 and the PB1, and that overall combination of products will give you a great consistent result that will give us a lot of tools to deal with whatever stresses upon our plants this summer, and give us a good nutrient source to feed the lawn all summer long. So talk to your local Holganix rep to find out exactly what rates might be right for your soil and your turf type and your climates. But you know, generally those products together, you can get an affordable program because they all go down at a reduced rate, and one that gives you a broad base of benefits. And then if you look at the granular applications, as I said to you before, we've got the 2,4,3 that's fully organic and has, you know, virtually zero burn potential. You can apply that product. Typical would be 4 pounds of the material per 1,000 square feet. So a 50-pound bag is going to go roughly 10,000 square feet, 10 to 12.5 in that range. And you can go as heavy as 5,000 square feet out of that bag if you want to get a really heavy soil application. You won't have a burn potential because it's such a low amount of nitrogen. It also, by the way, has 4% calcium in it, which is, you know, also beneficial to the soil and to the plants. And then we have the 5,2,3 that's typically used in a golf course environment. It's got a lot of bone and feather meal in it, which tends to make it a little bit more expensive for large acreage. But it is a really good source of nutrients that are fully organic. And both the 2,4,3 and the 5,2,3 both come in standard 180 SGN grade for lawn care applications, as well as a 90 SGN for a greens grade. So both of those products are 100% organic and nearly zero burn potential. Both are designed to go around 10,000 square feet a bag. And then you move down to the 795. This is really good if you're looking at an overseeding application, or if you just want just a general balanced fertilizer in your flower beds. Or in your turf. It does have a little bit of synthetic in it, so it's not fully organic, although it has it's about 70% organic by weight. There is some synthetic nitrogen in it to bring that nitrogen equivalent up to 7. We did have to add some urea to it, but it's a very small amount, and you have nothing to worry about burning there. And then you move to our 10,3,2. This has got a little more nitrogen in it. I would typically see this as a spring or fall application, or if we had a lawn that we knew was well irrigated or didn't have heat or drought stress, you know, we're just pushing that nitrogen up a little bit more. And it is a synthetic nitrogen that's taking that up to a 10. It does have a base of an organic, but it does have synthetic in it as well. It's a very small amount of synthetic, so I wouldn't be overly concerned about burning, but if I was going to use one of these fertilizers, that would be the last one I'd use in the middle of the heat. Use that more in the spring, use it more in the fall. Certainly can be used in the summertime, just wouldn't be my first pick. So, additional resources, Katie. What's the summer weather in a box? Can you explain that to the group?
Yeah. So, obviously, summer is a hot topic for you guys and also for the homeowners you serve. The summer weather in a box contains a ton of tools that you can utilize to help communicate how to care for a property from a homeowner's point of view. As an example, it contains, a blog, an email newsletter that you can steal. There's some social media stuff. A letter you can send to your current customers that just describes what you're doing by using a Holganix product in the summer and why that rocks, but also how to care for their lawn in the summer. So I'll provide a link to that in a follow-up after this webinar sometime tomorrow morning, but look for that resource. And then second of all is the Blue Sky promo.
Yeah, so we got a promo running that if you're new to Holganix and you're getting a rad or refrigerator installation, by the way, as long as you give us the proper appropriate acreage commitment, as far as usage of the Bio 800, we supply the rad or refrigerator for you at no cost as a loaner. But when you get a new rad refrigerator installed, you'll get 1 gallon of Blue Sky for free for every gallon of Bio 800 that gets installed with that new unit. And for those of you who already have a refrigerator, we haven't forgotten about you. We're also offering a promo for you. Basically, buy 4 gallons of any Bio 800 product in jugs or in bulk, and you'll get you'll receive a free 2.5 gallon jug of Blue Sky for every 4 gallons you purchase. And so, Katie, when does that run from and to?
So
Here it is.
cheat sheet. It ends June 30th. So if you guys are interested in looking to, if you're currently using a Bio 800 product and you're looking to try Blue Sky this summer, it's a great opportunity to jump on the bandwagon there at a really low cost. Just something to keep in mind, guys.
And you can use that Bio 800 if you're using Bio 800 with 7 ounces at that per 1,000 of Holganix Bio 800. You might use 7 ounces of Blue Sky at the same time. That would be a very low amount of nitrogen. Probably, depending on how you're spraying it and what your spray rates are, that might be as low as like a 1/16 of a pound of nitrogen. If you double that, it might bring it to an 1/8 or a 1/4 pound. So, instead of doing 7, do 14. Again, talk to your local Holganix rep, and they'll kind of walk you through what rates to use based on your program, your soil types, your turf types.